So we're going over 10 questions from your STAAR booklet. This one says, in 3 different workouts, a runner burned 300 calories in 30 minutes, 350 and 35, 220 based on the data, which is a function of the number of minutes the runner worked out. This is a function of, it can be replaced on, or is the same thing as, is dependent on. So you can take your two things, number of calories, your two variables, and number of minutes, and you can see dependent easily by replacing is a function of with is dependent on. So calories is dependent on something, on minutes. So the answers are only talking about dependent, and this says calories is dependent on. So you want C, because calories is the dependent quantity. And again, is a function of, replace it with is dependent on in your head, or actually write it in the book. Now this one, number 18, switch to that, and you can pause and write down notes on this. Research paper, black ink is this one, colored ink is this one. Which statement is true? So the only difference between these equations, is the minus 33 and the minus 30. Those two things are different. So something we can mark off there is something different. So this part that says same number, that's not your answer, because they're not the same. Another one you can mark off is the printer prints the entire report in 152 minutes. 152 is not minutes. If you read it again, the 152 is pages. You do 152 pages total, and then it prints 30 every time, or 152 total, and it prints 33 every time. So that's pages, not minutes. It'd be way too long. So then, the one that prints faster, black ink prints faster because it prints more per minute, 33, than colored ink, which only prints 30. So since this does colored ink first, if you ask yourself, is colored fewer or more? So those are the options, fewer or more. Well, colored is fewer because it only prints 30, so you want G. And again, pause, write these down. The next one says a contractor paints a square surface, side length of X, so there's a square, side length is X. He needs to know the area, well that's length times width, X squared, it's the Punnett square thing, just with one of them. And he always adds 25 square feet, it says. So that's adding, which means any answer choice without adding, you mark off. Not adding, not adding. Which function is used? So the difference here is this adds 25 just to X, just to the side. This adds 25 to the whole thing, the area. And this says he adds 25 to the area. That means the whole area. So you want D, you add it to the very end. You do X squared, then you add 25 after that. You do not add 25 to each side, that makes it too much. Okay, determining this graph. This is an exponential, it's a curve, so it's not a constant change. So if you look at the graph, information that's true, it lost half every 3 years. Well, in the first 3 years, it lost about half, but then it starts to slow down. So that's not consistent. Neither is the quarter. Those are not consistent numbers. So did it lose less between years 9 and 10? Or did it lose more between years 9 and 10? If you look, years 9 and 10 are right here. Years 1 and 2 are right here. So if you look, it lost way less of its value here between years 9 and 10. Because at that point, the car's worthless anyway. So less between 9 and 10. Okay, equation in standard form. That is AX plus by equals c, and all of them are in that form, of the one that passes through that point and has a slope of 1/4. Well, if you look at this, the beginning of these are all the same. So even if you solved for y to find the slope would be the same. They're all 1/4. The only thing that's different is what it equals over here. So what you do is you plug in your x value and your y value to see if you get 36, 28, negative 36, or negative 28. But this part, x minus 4y, is the same. So whichever number you get when you plug this point in, it will work. So 4 minus 4 times negative 8. That's 4 minus negative 32. Turn that to plus, you get 36. So A is your answer here. And all you had to do was plug it in. A new Spiral notebook has Spiral has 30 more sheets than Memo. Total in 3 Spiral and 5 Memo is 810. Which system is used? Okay? So start with ones you can mark off. 3 goes with S, Spiral, 5 goes with M. So this is wrong. Those both have 5 with S. So those don't work. And then these two are the same. So you don't have to look at them. You know that's right. The only difference is, do you subtract them to get 30 or add them? Well, adding means that there are 30 total in both Memo books, and that doesn't make sense. So you want F. The difference between them is 30 because one has 30 more. So difference is subtract. The average blue whale gains weight during its first 6 months. The relationship is blah, blah, blah. There's the equation, which is not true. Not. Pay attention to the not. The average blue whale weighs 3 tons at birth. Well, at birth, it's 0 days old. 0 days. Yeah. So if you take 0 and plug it in for D, 0.1 times 0 is 0, plus 3 is 3, so that weighs 3 tons, which means it's true, which means it's not your answer, and I know that gets confusing, but you want what's false. When it's 5 days old, it weighs 20 tons. 5 days, you plug it in for D. If you plug in 0.1 times 5 plus 3, do you get 20? You actually don't get anywhere close to 20. That would be a lot of weight to gain in 5 days. That's just 3.5 tons. So this is your correct answer, because when you plug in 5, you definitely do not get 20. And nobody cares about the rest. You can check them if you want. Customer pays a membership fee of $85 to a car wash. That is a ridiculous fee for a car wash, because then he pays $7 every time he takes it in. There's your equation. You want to know what the X represents. So the $7 is what? It's $7 every time he takes his car in. So the X represents the times that he takes his car in. $7 for however many times he takes his car in. And then there's that ridiculous $85 fee. So that's this in 1 year. Not months that he's been a member. Oh gosh, none of that. None of that makes any sense. And 2 more. This is a function that it gives you. It wants to know 30 feet long. Well, that 30 goes there for L. So you write 30. 30 equals 0.8 t squared. And then you can solve it algebraically. You divide by 0.8. And you get 37.5 equals t squared. And then you square root to get the time. And that's approximately 6.1. So your answer is J, 6.1. And then this one, he pays $4.39, no matter what. And they check 2 pieces of luggage. Oops. There's a $25 fee for additional ones. So 25, it's a multiply thing. You multiply by the 25, so it's not either of those. And then the only one that compensates for the extra 2 pieces is this one, because you get the 2 free here.